I'm Richard Pyatt. Welcome back to EOS, Traction for Your Workplace Goals. Michele Mollard is a certified EOS implementer, and she tells us exactly what we need to hear, some of us, to get our wheels turning and help us think about the issues we might be dealing with and the solutions that can be provided by way of EOS and a guided process that certified EOS implementers conduct for their clients. Hello, Michele.
Hello, Richard.
By the way, we've talked on several occasions about several aspects of this. So if this is the first time you're hearing it, we invite you to subscribe so you're able to hear some of the others and then be alerted as we go forward with new episodes. This one, I think, you tell me, I think this subject is particularly common. That is to say, an owner or a manager who is at a precipice where they could delegate or certainly maybe reassign some duties, but they're reticent to do it. There's a little bit of fear in there.
Yeah.
This is probably common. Am I right or no?
Oh, it's very common, especially as companies grow, right? It's kind of been my baby as sole entrepreneur, and then it's gotten bigger, and I've had to add people, and I'm figuring out who to add, what seats to add. Like, am I having somebody do my marketing for me now because I need to continue to sell, or do I have somebody helping me with the finance? And so, as you had said, Richard, there's plenty of podcasts before that talk a little bit about this delegate and elevate. But I actually just want to flip the script, if I may, and say you are probably not doing your company justice if you don't. Meaning that there is probably a lot of times where you are not letting things go that others can pick up and that others you don't know until you do it, right? And so summarizing this is like go on vacation, right? And don't work. Maybe not a whole month sabbatical, but go for a day. Baby test, baby test, and let go. Like have everything buttoned up at 5:00, leave, and don't come back until the next, right? So, whole day off, come back at 8:00, don't touch a thing, and see what breaks. And so everything that I've always taught is like, oh, this is how you fix it, and this is how you don't get it broken. I want to talk about how you do break it, right? And sometimes we just don't know. And I'll kind of stop there, but I just think it's fun to kind of break some stuff and then realize what got broken and how do we fix it.
Now, there may be some folks who listened to that and got more scared.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh,
sure.
we're going to break something?
For sure.
But it's a destiny of knowledge, right? You're going to learn something here.
Yes.
And guess what? Maybe something won't break, but that's part two, I guess, of the conversation.
Yes.
You have to be able to say, okay, got to give some freedom here and see what happens. And there's a payoff later.
Yes.
We'll get to that. But this whole point of letting go and seeing what breaks, that sounds a little bit tricky.
Yeah, and definitely a little scary, for sure. But what I want to realize now, if you are a emergency room doctor, maybe not, right?
Yeah.
Because lives do end up not doing so well, right? People can die. Let's be real what I'm trying to say. So again, if you are making a widget, if you are providing a service, if you are reselling a manufacturer, like all of these things. Now, granted, of course, things could happen. But the point of it is most of the time that things don't break as badly as we think they will. And so they may bend, but they may not break completely. And so then, to your point, Richard, is then how do we learn from it? And so oftentimes, if our employees feel the pressure, that they will step up to the pressure or they won't. I would say most of the time, if you have a core value fit, they will step up to the pressure because they believe your core values. They know who they are a part of, this company they want to be a part of, and they're bought in. And so they don't want to let anybody else down. And so when you say, this is what I expect you to do Tuesday when I'm on vacation, I am not going to check in. I'm not going to follow up. I'm not going to do everything. We'll have a call or I'll see how it goes on Wednesday when I come back in. That because of that, they don't want to let you down or anybody else down on that team.
Wow. There's a camaraderie there that's kind of like a glue.
There is, and again, you've gotta have, and I said that and I'll say it again, there's also gotta be this core value match, right? That is the glue, right? That is our code of conduct, and when we have that, and you may not have everybody in the organization tied into that code of conduct, but you may test this for a day vacation with Richard. I'm just gonna let Richard run with this because I know he's a core value fit. I know he wants to help. I've just gotta let him go and skin his knees, and so potentially he won't skin his knees. Potentially he'll do great because he wants to. There's already this common thread of, hey, Richard believes our core values. He know, like, and trusts me, all the things. I'm not going to let Michelle down or I'm not going to let Bob down or what have you. So I do feel like there needs to be that code. But at the same time, many times as owners, we just don't let go for many other reasons. And it's not only our control, but it's that. And so we've got to see things get broken because potentially we don't know where that is. And so if everything's actually been going really well, then let's let go of the vine again and let's see what breaks and then let's learn from it, right? So you added to the second point of the conversation is that's the next level is
Yeah.
then we got to learn from it. You, Richard, as the person that I asked you to do something, me, Michelle, as the owner of the company, we all both need to learn through this experience.
And there is learning there,
Hmm.
significantly so, because now we know where the weak spots might
Mm.
be,
Yeah.
and we can address that. We didn't know that before.
Yeah, for sure. And arguably, the whole thing won't implode, right? So let's just say you've trained this person to do payroll and you're going to let them do it, right? The whole thing won't implode. They may miss the step, which is still bad, of moving distributions for the 401k, right? Still bad, but we have time to get it back versus not pay everybody. Right? And so we've just got to figure that out. And then sometimes it's just the ability to say that we're going to let that happen and let them go and run with it. And again, you've trained them, you've done those things. It's not like, hey, I'm taking off tomorrow. You've never seen payroll before. I got to go. That's not what I'm saying. Right. I
Yeah.
am saying that they have been trained, they have been put in charge, except we kind of swoop back in and make sure they're okay, like little baby nests right in the bird of the nest, being like, you're sure you're okay in the middle of the day? Are you checking in? Do you need anything? Did anything blow up? Like, right? If the employee gets it and will run with it, you have to also imagine what that feels like to them. And so that feels like you don't trust them, that they don't got it, right? And all the things. And so sometimes we don't really realize potentially the undermining that might be happening when we don't let go and just let it happen. And then it's not, I told you so, right? It's okay.
Yeah.
What did we learn? And then how do we write a new process? What training do they need more coming alongside of them?
Now, you just said a word I was thinking about, process. I presume that when we get to this point, we have to have had a process that is accurate and with which we are comfortable before we let go. That probably helps the owner let go a little easier.
For sure. And I have a saying, I think I've said it a few times, those that use the broom should buy the broom, meaning that Mr. Owner, maybe you don't set the process. Maybe we say, okay, I've shown you how to do payroll. And Richard, as I am showing you how to do payroll, you're taking notes of all the steps because they may need different level of details that you need. Right.
Hmm.
And so then they're taking that. And then I might watch them do it using their notes. And they're like, oh, I missed a step. Hey, you missed a step. And I'm catching them right there. But at some point, that yes, to your point, that has to be done. But at some point, we keep going back and be like, I need to be there. I need to be there. And so then our company is running us. And so this is more of a beg and a plead for the owner to understand that you have to step out. Richard and I were just talking about I'm running a little bit hectic right now in my life, and so it's not helping. right? I'm not helping anybody in my organization be calm because I'm not calm. I'm not helping my clients be calm and understand, right? Because I'm not. And so we have to understand that our hurriedness or our need to control or our need to be in everything is a direct reflection of what we're making as a culture. A hurried, in the right, in the weeds, in the know, not letting go. We're making a culture that is exactly resembling us like a mirror.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode, I think. The
Yes.
notion of our influence on the culture. Wow.
Yeah,
There's something. But
for sure.
this makes terrific sense, does it not? The
Yeah.
notion that, okay, we have a process and now we're going to embark on this opportunity to help someone understand that process, perhaps master it,
Hmm?
and at the same time, we get to go take a day off.
Yeah. Right. And again, baby steps. And so then it's like, okay, I'm going to do this with this person this day on payroll day. Good. Then I'm going to take 2 days and it's going to affect payroll day and purchasing day. And we're going to see how that goes. Right. And so then eventually the point of all this is you should have time for other passions as owners. And so I tell companies, I say, hey, I really, really want to grow, Michelle, and I really want to do EOS. I think it would be great. But I can't work longer. And so you're telling me you work with growth oriented companies and they need to want to grow, but I can't work more hours. And I'm saying, how about you work 40 hours and double in size? And they're like, there's no way. Right. And so if you're thinking that as you're listening to this, yes way. Right. We've just got to be able to let go. We've got to find the right people to let go to. Now, granted, if you can't, there's a reason why, and I don't know why you're potentially hanging on to a B player or a C player if you're not able to, and they can't axe the whole company, meaning that you can't, fire them all if they're all C players. But how do you take the most critical, arguably the things that you don't like the most, and then getting that out, right? And so I'm like, I don't like to do that, hire that. I don't like to do that, hire that,
Hmm.
right? And the stuff that you love, then hold on for a little time longer, right? And so that's just the way to start that process of really looking at it and saying to yourself as an owner, as a leader, you deserve time off. Everybody does.
There has to be a person or two listening to this who understands conceptually what you're saying.
Yeah.
But when they think about themselves, they say, I don't know. I don't know if I can let go.
Yeah.
Now what you just said is there's some other issue there we're going to have to dig up.
Yeah, I think that to evaluate why you can't let go, right? And so do some soul searching around the why, right? And saying, I can't go on this 2 week sabbatical because I have 5 of the 12 people on my team that are brand new. Probably rightly so, right? It's not, I can't go on because I don't trust them, right? Or I don't think they'll do a good job. And so the two extremes, granted, right? Just to point out the point,
Yeah.
is that we can't just let go too soon. But oftentimes we say to ourselves that if the saying is coming out of your brain, well, I can do it faster than they can, I'll just do it.
Heard
Now it's
that
on you.
before. Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it's on you. Right? Because you can't. You have to be able to get things off of your plate so you can do better and bigger things. Not better, but bigger things, well, better for the organization, right? Better and bigger for the organization. And so if you say, well, I can do it it only takes me 10 minutes, it only takes me a day, and it would take somebody new 3 days. So it's a day.
It's a long-term vision, though, here,
It's a
isn't it?
long,
Sure. I've heard that too. Well, in the time it takes me to teach them, I can do that. Yeah. But in the long term,
yeah,
look at the freedom you may get to
right.
focus on something else. We're not necessarily talking about taking a week to go to Tahiti, although, maybe. But you might be better focused in another area of the organization instead of
Absolutely.
this. I can relate to that personally.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, we've been talking about days off, right? But it is. Where is your effort? Why do you need to still be there? I have a team out in Montana that is the same way. Like, why do you still need to be over that seat? Why? What is she? It happens to be a she. What is she doing wrong that makes you feel like that? Well, nothing. Oh, so then, well, how do
It's
you
about
feel
them.
that? Yeah, it's about this
Yeah.
right now. It's about the owner not letting go. And that person now, I asked the question, I go, how do you feel when they swoop in? And like, I feel like you don't trust me. And then we got into a team building, a health issue, not
Hmm.
health like heart attack health, but like a team health, a pulse on trust. And it wasn't there. And so then how are they going to take the reins and want to own it and want to feel like they could run with it or bring new ideas, fresh looks, right? So there's so many things that we're not realizing that if we don't just let go and try to break something, we don't know all the things that are not broken and or are broken or what the next level is. There's so much to that.
So, bottom line, this process can help you become clearer about where critical areas may be, but also provide you with a path to focus on the things you really need to focus
Mm,
on, whether that's Tahiti or something else.
right. Yep.
It's as
No,
clear as that.
it is, and it's very scary. So don't let me, kind of walk through this very nonchalantly. It is definitely very scary. I've been there, you've been there, but it's what leaders do, right? It's clear communication. It's driving the organization forward, and so we're just not at that level of leadership if we're not. And so that's my challenge through this podcast: is up your leadership, up that ability, find out if they're ready to own it, and then check yourself of why you're not letting go. That would be the thing is that, it's more internal than you think it is. It's been your baby. I get it, but you can't grow that way.
All right, there you are. If this resonates and you're rolling this around in your mind right now saying, "Oh, I think she's talking about me," maybe you should speak to Michele directly about it. Contact information in the show notes. Meanwhile, click the subscribe button, be alerted when these episodes come available, and stick with us. EOS, Traction for Your Workplace Goals, the entrepreneurial operating system, expertly focused upon and guided by certified EOS implementer Michele Mollard. Until next time, we'll see you then.